Welcome to today's explainer. Listen, if you're a parent, you have probably been exactly here. Last month, one single sticker was totally enough. Your kid put on their shoes, packed their backpack, and so proudly slapped that sticker right on their chart. But then, almost overnight, that one sticker became boring. So you offered two. And then a week later, suddenly your child is asking for extra screen time instead. Today, we're going to explore exactly why kids start asking for bigger rewards. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how to calmly reset this pattern. And we're going to do it without relying on shame or abrupt, harsh punishments.
Okay, let's dive into this. Soon enough, your morning begins with this highly relatable question. What do I get if I get ready? Right? It's a pretty clear signal that a simple sticker has completely lost its magic. Now, when a reward works quickly, increasing it feels like a very practical, logical solution when the old one loses its pull. But when this question turns into a daily routine, it just leaves parents feeling completely exhausted and cornered. If that sounds familiar, take a deep breath. Today, we are providing a calm, fixed, and highly organized roadmap to get you out of this cycle. We've got 6 parts on the agenda. Number 1, the escalation trap. 2, the science of the swap. 3, common reward mistakes. 4, spotting warning signs. 5, the scale plan. And 6, the 7-day reset. Let's start with section 1, the escalation trap, a familiar morning routine. So imagine a hypothetical family that we'll be following today. Every single morning, they find themselves stuck in this escalating daily negotiation, just over getting shoes tied and backpacks packed. What started as a little extra motivation has literally morphed into a complex daily contract negotiation just to get out the front door. Now, in this escalating version, you're adding a new, slightly better prize every single day. And let's be incredibly clear here. The parent is absolutely not trying to spoil the child. They literally just want to leave the house and get to work on time. We've all been there. But by doing this, they've accidentally taught the child 2 unintended lessons. First, that ordinary cooperation always has a price, and second, that holding out might just improve the offer. The healthier version, that looks like using a picture checklist, preparing everything the night before, and keeping any temporary rewards small and entirely fixed. No haggling. Moving on to section 2, the science of the swap, why the price goes up. I want to explicitly state right now, your child is not greedy. They aren't selfish and they aren't entitled. What we are looking at here is just normal behavioral science. Kids are remarkably good at recognizing patterns. They are simply learning that waiting, refusing, or complaining can sometimes improve the deal. Behavior researchers actually use a very specific word for this, reinforcer. And a reinforcer is something that actually increases a behavior. Look, just because an adult calls something a prize, that doesn't mean it holds power over a kid forever. Preference studies in behavioral science show us that what people want shifts over time, especially with repeated access. A reward's value naturally changes based on hunger, novelty, recent experience, and competing activities. 20 minutes of screen time might feel way more valuable today than a new toy that was super exciting just yesterday. Any exhausted parent of a toddler knows that reality all too well. Which brings us to section 3, common reward mistakes, accidental auctions. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when parents feel trapped by time. They often make a few predictable missteps that accidentally turn standard, everyday routines into high-stakes bidding wars. Imagine a price tag slowly climbing up a ladder. The absolute clearest mistake we see parents make is raising the offer during resistance. If a child says no and the parent immediately adds a sticker and then a snack to sweeten the pot, the child instantly learns that the first offer is absolutely not final. Other really common mistakes, starting with the absolute biggest prize right out of the gate so you have literally nowhere to go when it stops working. Or rewarding only the final outcome instead of praising the small steps. Using the same reward until it just gets totally boring is another one. Oh, and letting siblings bid against each other by matching payouts? Yeah, definitely avoid that trap for sure. Let's check back in on our recurring family to see how this plays out in real time. Looking at their afternoon homework routine, the escalating scenario is just a complete breakdown. The parent offered 10 minutes of gaming for doing 10 math problems. The child refused. So what happened? The parent eventually escalated the offer to an entire hour of gaming just to get the kid to do the math. In contrast, the healthier approach sets the ceiling before the task even begins. It sounds more like, homework begins at 4:30. You can choose math or reading first. I'll sit with you for the first 5 minutes. But the planned screen time does not grow if starting takes longer. Section 4, spotting the warning signs. Is your system escalating? So the crucial point is knowing how to spot these signs early.
And please remember, these warning signs are just information. They are absolutely not a reason to blame yourself, and they are definitely not a reason to shame your child. They just show that your current plan is accidentally teaching negotiation rather than responsibility. So listen for repeated questions, things like how much, or well, what did my sister get? Watch out for a child who refuses to move a muscle until the offer goes up, or a kid who does only the absolute bare minimum just to collect the prize. Also, pay close attention to your own feelings here. Are you feeling resentful? Because ordinary routines shouldn't require constant, exhausting bargaining. You see, when rewards become the main point of the task, the child focuses entirely on comparing today's payment with yesterday's. They completely miss out on that natural, intrinsic relief of just getting a job done. Let's look at evening chores for a second. The escalating scenario shows a $2 payment for taking out the trash, jumping to $5 after a flat refusal. Research shows that inconsistent parental responses and stressful interactions that only end when someone finally gives in can actually build coercive cycles. Conversely, the healthier approach defines the trash as a fixed family job. It's just part of living in the house. Any extra paid jobs are listed totally separately with fixed amounts. This teaches genuine responsibility instead of this constant transactional mindset. All right, Section 5, the scale plan, rebuilding the routine calmly. If you find yourself stuck in this cycle, how on earth do you get out? Well, we are going to offer a very compassionate step-by-step framework to stop the bidding war once and for all. We call it the scale plan. Let's walk through this scale plan step by step because it's a real game changer. First, S is for set the ceiling before the task. Decide the exact reward in advance and do not increase it during a refusal. Next, C is clarify one observable behavior. We want to replace vague goals like be good with super clear actions like work for 10 minutes. For A, adjust the task before enlarging the prize. Make the first step shorter or offer a little help getting started. Then L is lean the schedule gradually. As the behavior gets more reliable, you use the reward less often. And finally, E is expand natural payoffs. Point out the genuine, real-world benefits of having free time after homework or mastering a cool new skill. The whole goal here is to shift the focus back to teaching a missing skill rather than just buying the behavior. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this is the absolute core philosophy of this entire explainer. It's a repeating mantra, make the task smaller instead of making the prize bigger. When you are a stressed-out parent facing a massive, overwhelming task with a very resistant child, just repeat this to yourself. If your kid can't clean their whole room for a video game, don't offer 2 games. Just ask them to put the dirty clothes in the basket first. Make it smaller. Section 6, the 7-day reward reset. A gradual shift, not an abrupt end. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, it is critical to remember this. Do not remove all support overnight. Behavioral research is very clear that fading support should always be a planned teaching process. It should never be a frustrated, abrupt punishment where you suddenly rip away every single incentive your child has been relying on. Let's move to and see how this builds across a week for our family's bedtime routine. On day 1, you just choose one routine and set one fixed support. Tell your child honestly, hey, we've been changing the deal a lot and it's getting confusing. This week the amount stays the exact same and I will help you start. For days 2 through 6, stay warm. If they resist, repeat the plan exactly once. And whatever you do, absolutely do not add a larger offer mid-argument. Just track their cooperation. Finally, on day 7, take a step back and assess. Is the task actually too hard? Is the reward even valued anymore? Make only one plan change at a time. Before we wrap up, we absolutely need to ensure that we aren't painting all rewards as a negative thing, because they aren't. Larger rewards are entirely reasonable and appropriate for genuinely harder tasks or for extra household jobs that go above and beyond basic responsibilities. Furthermore, for children with specific developmental, attention, learning, or mental health needs, individualized and sometimes much larger reinforcers are totally necessary and healthy, especially during those early stages of learning difficult safety or self-care skills. The key here is that the reward is linked to a carefully designed plan. It's not just paid out in a panic because the child resisted the original agreement. We'll conclude our explainer today with this incredibly powerful, useful phrase. If you are feeling trapped in an accidental auction today, you now have the exact words you need to go connect with your child and try a calm reset. Say it with me. The first step is too big. Let us make the steps smaller instead of making the prize bigger. Remember, your kids aren't manipulating you. They are just responding to the system that's currently in place. So I leave you with this final thought to ponder.
What is one single routine in your home that you can begin to reset today simply by making the first step just a little bit smaller? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and good luck with your reset.